2, 1, and we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wheel Talk, the podcast with a guy in a wheelchair and a girl in a wheelchair. And this is a fairly unscheduled, spontaneous podcast because we had our Zoom hangout and no one turned up. Well, we had one guy turn up, James Smith, loyal fan of Brittany's channel, and he was the only guy there. So, but yeah.
Yeah, he's the ride or die on my channel. If there's anything that I do, I can, unless he's bleeding or, in the hospital, or he's always there. So
you want to be grateful, mate, because everyone needs a James Smith. I had a lady, Kenzie McIntyre, used to comment on all my videos, and then all of a sudden just disappeared one day, never commented again, and I'm like, oh, I wonder where she is, So there you go. So one day, you got to be grateful, for loyal fans like James.
Especially, he's not getting any younger, so.
Right.
I hope he's commenting on my channel for a very long time. Anyway, thank you, James, for showing up. And shame on you for everybody else who didn't. Just kidding. I know that people have things to do.
Let's start off with a shameless plug for the Patreon. Like I said, I've said this so many times. It's free to join. And also, if you want to hang out with us and get to know each other like a bit more casually, like a podcast format, but join in, then you could be part of this little crew and do little portrait drawings. As you can see, I drew James and Brittany, and James drew Brittany and me. And then Brittany, you can't really see that picture very well, but Brittany did some interesting drawings, and we did a left-handed round where we were drawing with our left hands, and it was just fun. It was just a really cool way. So if you guys want to join in on these, we're probably going to do them like once a month. The links are in the description. Patreon.com/Fredo the Wheelchair Guy and Patreon.com/Empowered Parrot. And with that out the window, let's move on.
Yeah. We're gonna do a reflection sort of on yesterday's episode, because it was a really heavy one and Fred missed it. So he's since watched it, and we're just going to reflect on sort of some of the conversations that were had. So I have some questions for you in terms of what you thought of certain parts of the episode, but I'll let you give us your thoughts on the topic. Excellent. And what you thought of it.
Well, number one, I thought it was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I loved it so much. I thought it was so wonderfully choreographed, if that's the right word. There was the communication was so patient, like there was no one interrupting each other. I thought Brian or B was very patient, like letting Brian speak first, and then his whole huge monologue was so wonderful. I had such a different expectation going into the podcast. I was so surprised when I saw it was him. I was like, what, this guy? You've been on Brittany's channel, like how are you choosing death? I was so blown away. I was like, and then by the end of the podcast, I was like, oh man, I was crying. I was like, when you guys were like, I was like, oh my God, I was crying. I was like, I empathized with him so much, the situation. I was like, it was so heartfelt. I was like, oh, I completely understand. And it wasn't, one of the main takeaways was, it wasn't because of his disability directly. It wasn't like disability sucks. It's like, I've lived such a great life. I don't want to wither away in pain. Like, I just want to go out on my own terms, and people should respect that decision. And by the end of it, I was like, well, yeah, absolutely, man. It was so good, man. And I just wanted to come on here, and like I say, it wasn't really planned. We were doing the Zoom thing, and I just thought, yeah, let's just hop on a live stream. Why not? And just real time react to it. I thought it was fantastic. And if Brian, you're watching, buddy, my heart goes out to you, man. Like, it was so, man, it was beautiful.
Just for if we're actually going to put this on Spotify, for the people who haven't watched the actual episode, the previous one, go watch it. It was on the Canadian Compassionate Death Program, essentially. And a friend of mine came on to talk about his choice to use the program to end his life sometime in the future. It was just a great conversation about the merits of the track 2 portion of the program, which is for people that don't have terminal illnesses and instead are just suffering in pain and want to end their life. So yeah, it was a really interesting conversation. I wanted to ask you about, oh my God, I had the question right on the tip of my tongue and now it's gone. There's
Take your time.
there was like I had like a question about what I wanted to ask you about. Oh, okay, sorry, now it's back. I wanted to ask about the notion that quality over quantity, like the longevity conversation, because aging with a disability is obviously very relevant to us. Like we hope to age with a disability, like we hope to last that long, right? But aging with pain and how to prevent that kind of got me thinking yesterday. And so I'm like, is there a way to do both? Like, do you have to sacrifice doing sports and like all the things, or is there a way to like improve shoulder health, have a shoulder hygiene routine, build muscle around your shoulder capsules? Because the conversations I've had with physios is basically it says like you have to start early when your shoulder health is good. When you're younger, you have to build muscle to maintain, like to get muscle around your shoulder capsule to protect the joint capsule, and then you have to maintain that muscle strength and not lose any of that muscle as you age, so that it maintains the strength around the joint capsule and doesn't put pressure on the tendons. Not that I'm saying like anybody whose shoulders are shot has done anything wrong, but maybe there's lessons we can learn from these kinds of conversations where people have maybe like overused their shoulders in a way that wasn't healthy, and maybe there's a way to do it better. I don't know what your opinion is on that. I just wanted to ask you about that, like the longevity thing. Like, do we have to sacrifice all the all the fun in order to, like he was talking about the wheelchair accessible van. Do you have to never drive a sports car and pull your wheelchair in and out of your car in order to not get bad shoulders? I don't know.
Well, again, it brings up so many interesting questions. Like those questions are really great. Just to give people some background, just a brief background, if they hadn't seen the podcast, Brian has decided to. Again, there's two different Brians, so we'll call him B. The Brian who has gone ahead with it, the decision. He's chosen to end his own life through medically assisted suicide because of his quality of life. Directly to do with wearing out his shoulders as a paraplegic, a very active paraplegic, by the way, who's excelled at sports, for 30 odd years. He's achieved incredible things, lived a wonderful life. But because of, certain ailments in his neck and his shoulders and his body, to do with being a paraplegic, but not, I guess, well, it is kind of because of being a paraplegic, but that's not the reason for, anyway. So the question, that you're saying is there a way where we can take care of our bodies better so we don't end up, after 30 years in a wheelchair being like, my body's completely screwed. Like the doctors are saying, I can operate on you, but it won't really improve you, and you'll be bedridden and your quality of life is going to go down. And coming to such a difficult decision of like, well, I don't want that. I've lived a great life, like let's go out on my own terms. So to react to that, I think Eric Kondo would be a really, really great person to speak to about it. If for those of you guys that don't know, I did a podcast with him. He is 60 years old. He's been in a wheelchair for 40 years. He is bouncing around. He did 6 marathons in 6 days in 6 different wheelchairs that he built himself. He's an absolute, if you're looking for a role model, if you're a paraplegic, Eric Kondo is your guy. And he has immense shoulder strength, but he's not like stocky or anything. He's just fit and old and just, So he would be a great person to ask. I know he has a shoulder routine. I don't know what it is, so I don't have a direct answer to that question, but I'm sure there is an answer to that question. But I think it's got to be to do with being proactive, about like strengthening the tendons. I think like the rotator cuff muscles are ones that are prone to wearing out quite quickly. I know that there's some ones that you can do like this with stretchy bands that strengthen your rotator cuffs. So I'm sure that there is a way to be proactive. I don't know exactly what it is, but to protect your, I don't know, it's weird. But like you say, you've got to strike up a balance between, do I protect my shoulders and live a sheltered life, or do I just go balls to the wall, achieve loads, but then at the risk of like 30 years down the line having certain regrets? But although Brian didn't have regrets, it was like just reflections of what he would do differently. So I think, again, the podcast was fantastic. I think a lot of us can take Brian's lessons on board and I guess decide to live our lives in a way that is, I guess, a compromise of the two,
Yeah, I think that's like a conversation that we can explore. And I think it's a valid one, especially for those of us that, are going to be in a wheelchair for many years. Like somebody who maybe is paralyzed at 50 and has healthy shoulders already, and they might be in a wheelchair for 20 years. They're not looking at, 40, 50, 60, 70 years in a wheelchair. And the some of us that are, I think this conversation is so relevant. So maybe we can do some research on that and bring some strategies to the podcast for people to try out at least and see if it makes a difference in their shoulder health while they're still young enough to make a difference. So I think we should explore that for sure. But the quality versus quantity question is one that, like, I know it's an age-old question. I mean, my dad, he's an able-bodied guy, and he's always saying, like, I don't want to live when I can't wipe my own butt or walk around, right? And that is a decision everybody has to make for themselves and what they feel would make them mentally unhappy, because there's a lot of people that could live if they needed help in their old age, and then a lot of people that would just be really grumpy about it, and it wouldn't be a fun situation for them. So yeah, the quality versus quantity thing is always an interesting topic. And I know for myself, I have chosen to have a wheelchair accessible vehicle because every time that I have tried pulling my wheelchair in and out, it's just been really uncomfortable, not necessarily on my shoulder, but on my neck. And it's like the reaching down, because I've always had like an SUV that anytime I've always used an SUV and not a car. So I'm always reaching pretty far down to get my wheelchair. And it's so uncomfortable, like back here. And it's just, it's not a fun feeling. But I also don't know if it's just because I've always had a wheelchair accessible vehicle that the times that I don't, it's not something my shoulder is used to, or my back, or my neck. And I don't know whether I would get used to it. I know when I had my rear end accident and I had to rent an SUV for 8 months, my body definitely got used to lifting the chair in and out. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on the car thing? Like, would you ever get a wheelchair accessible van?
The interesting thing that I thought when I listened to it was I don't ever feel pain when I pull my wheelchair, and I'm quite strong. I'm not as stocky as Brian. He looks very, very strong. He's got massive hands, man. He's like really like a real man's man,
Yeah.
Anyway, I was quite impressed with just the size of his fingers. I was like, oh man, he looks really strong. Anyway, but that's an interesting thing because he looks very, very strong. And if he's saying, trust me, man, but I'm sort of like 6 years in, I'm like, man, this doesn't even hurt me at all. Like I never actually feel strain apart from when I had my tennis elbow of getting the wheelchair in and out the car. So I was kind of like, well, I don't know, man. Like I guess a wheelchair accessible vehicle is quite expensive, and I have a perfectly good vehicle, and I get my wheelchair in and out the car without any pain. But times that by another 10 years, 20 years, will I look back and be like, oh, I should have listened to Brian? But my shoulders, I guess because my shoulders don't feel any pain. It's a tough question to answer, because yeah.
I'm kind of the same. Like, I don't generally get shoulder pain apart from like here and there. When I've done something, like when I was trying to move a freezer once, and I was like wedging myself in between a wall and the freezer and using my shoulder and my elbow to push the freezer so I had leverage. That made my shoulder hurt the next day. But apart from like exercising over like doing it a few times, my shoulders don't typically hurt. It's always my tennis elbow, like, which I have brutally right now. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting like injections, like steroid injections in it for the first time. So I get tendonitis quite bad, but it's always when my muscles are weak and I am like letting the tendons take the brunt of the force. But yeah, it's never my shoulders either. So I don't really like know which parts of the setup that I have for my vehicle or my house are doing me like disservice later, like over time. So yeah, I don't know. Because when he was talking about like get your house set up, like I don't have grab bars anywhere. I don't have any of that stuff. My bed is super high. And I just am like, I just transfer into the shower. My shower transfers really far because I have a big lip into my shower. And so I have to transfer onto my chair that's in there, and my chair's on the outside of the shower. So I just don't know if all of those things are doing me a disservice later on, but I don't feel pain in my shoulders. I feel pain in my neck and I feel pain in my elbows. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had really bad tennis elbow I did a couple of videos where you could see me like like suffering with it quite a lot, getting the bike in and out the car. And again, that's another interesting observation. Like I never get shoulder pain getting like my wheelchair and my hand bike in and out the car. But I do when I had tennis elbow, I was really struggling with it. So I guess you got to take care of your elbows as well. But what actually really helped me was I stopped going to the gym for a while and I just let it heal. I let it rest, and now it feels very strong. So yeah, and I know how I did it now. I remember I was getting the heavy weights. I was probably not going too heavy, but like when you lift the weights from a position, like they don't feel that heavy. But when you yank the weight from the rack to your wheelchair, I was like, oh, that is how I damaged my tennis elbow for sure. That movement there was because it's like what 17.5 kilos, and you're like pulling it like this, and then you're getting it. So yeah, I'm probably gonna either just lift lower weights for like higher reps, or just use a spotter. You know, get Chris to help me get the weights out the rack. You know, but just be more mindful of that movement. But when you were talking about the shoulders, when Brian was talking about all the stuff that he'd done, you know, played wheelchair basketball, and then he did like sledge hockey, and then he did all this stuff. I was like, that's probably how he damaged your shoulders, man. Like he's very like when it comes to active paraplegics, he's probably in the top 2%. You know, like extremely active. And I do get that, like if your shoulders are already compromised, like getting your wheelchair in and out the car is probably gonna be a ball ache. But I think because I'm fairly active, but I'm not as active as that. I think I'm all right. Like I sort of know my own body. I think I'm all right getting the wheelchair in and out the car. But I guess I hope I don't come to regret, you know, that decision. Like of just continuing doing that.
It's very hard to know because you can't really tell what's happening inside of your body unless you have pain. And sometimes the pain is it doesn't actually hurt until something's really wrong, right? And so I think it's one of those things that we just have to kind of learn for ourselves and go off of our symptoms and the way our body feels. But we're never going to know till we get to that age. And I think having people that have gone through, you know, however many years in their wheelchair, and have the advice, it's there to help us. And then we take from it what works for us, right? Because obviously there's people that just have really bad shoulders. And I like Brian, like he has told me about the bobsledding thing, like crashing, how hard he's crashed at like 100 and however many kilometers an hour down an icy slope. Might have damaged your shoulders a slight bit when you did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely things that didn't help his shoulders over the life of his, you know, wheelchair journey. But yeah, I appreciate all the advice because it's so hard to know what to do. And so I've made decisions to not do crazy stuff. And along the way, doctors have told me certain things too, or mostly it was physios, doctors here and there, but physios about my like how to use my body better. And a physio told me, like, with my stature, it's not a good idea to lift more than 8 pounds above my head ever, like in terms of my shoulder health. So I'm like, oh, so now I really don't lift more than 8 pounds above my head when I'm doing like a shoulder press or anything. I just do more reps. I wanted to talk about the tennis elbow too, because it's really bad. And I did stop all of my exercises, which sucks because my back really likes exercises because my back is strong and my shoulders are strong. So they're like, okay, this is irritating. They're tightening up and getting irritated while this is healing. And I researched a bunch of stuff, and I found a Reddit thread about how to basically have like forearm hygiene to prevent tennis elbow, because tennis elbow is always when the forearm muscles are weak and the tendon is taking the brunt of the force, and then it's pulling on the bone that it's attached to. And so part of it is trying those braces that somebody else suggested when we were talking about it in an earlier podcast. I've tried it, but it actually like makes my pain a lot worse. And the physio said those are hit and miss. Some people it makes it worse, some people it makes it better. So the brace didn't work for me, but I found in this Reddit thread with tennis players, it's basically like a few forearm exercises with a light weight where you're just lifting the weight up and down like this. And then there's something called a gyroscope, which is the coolest thing ever. And I ordered one off of Amazon. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't actually.
Okay, so it's just it's like a ball within a ball. And when you like this one that I have, like you get it going with a string, and then you turn your wrist one way, but the ball just through like centrifugal force is turning the other way. And so when you do that, it's such a good workout for your forearm. Like, oh my God, I had to stop doing it because it was actually making my tendonitis worse for a bit. But now that my tendonitis is kind of settling down, I'm going to do it again. And you only do it for like a couple of minutes, but it's like so good. So yeah, I'm going to try that. I'm actually going to do a video about it, like testing it out, just to see if it actually works over time. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because if anybody else is dealing with chronic pain, especially tennis elbow, I've had it multiple times over the 25 years that I've been in a wheelchair.
Oh, really?
And it's always when I let go of my forearm hygiene and strengthening exercises. So don't forget your forearms. Like, it's hard to actually just like isolate your forearm muscles unless you're doing like little weights like this up and down. So you got to do that. Obviously you can do it with like some bands and stuff when you're pulling from the wall or whatever, but yeah. Definitely keep the strength.
So I used the strap. I think Sonia was the lady that commented, and I got one. I didn't really. I use it. I still use it at the gym because if it's any sort of preventative measure, even 1% is worth wearing it. And also, I paid for it because I'm like stubborn. I'm like, hey, like I bought this, so I'm gonna bloody use it. But I don't think it. I really don't think it makes much difference. But yeah, I think just resting for me, just resting it like helped loads. And luckily it just healed quite quickly. But yeah, the tennis elbow sucks. But going back to Brian, because when I used the word stubborn, I remember thinking when I listened to, I find him so admirable. I really hope he gets to see this. A really admirable guy. Like when he's like he's like the sort of guy like my disability isn't going to stop me doing from anything. Like when he was talking about pulling himself up in like big vehicles and never using like a wheelchair like hoist or anything like that, loading up the basketball wheelchairs in a truck and driving them and just like getting stuff done and then working like 12 hours a day. And he just seems like a real sort of man's man. And I feel like it's tragic that he's kind of paying the consequence or paying the price for those decisions, where I think that is such a wonderful thing. Like I don't like ever my disability holding me back. And I think that is such a wonderful thing to be like, yeah, I can do anything. I want to be like Brian. But then tragically seeing Brian like, yeah, those decisions have impacted me negatively long term and also forced him into this very brave and uncomfortable decision. And it's just such a juxtaposition of emotions. Like, wouldn't it be wonderful to be like Brian? But then like, I don't want to, pay the price that Brian's paid. But then also the lessons that he's passing on. It was beautiful. It was honestly, I know I've said it before, but it was beautiful conversation. I was weeping away and it was just bloody fantastic. So Brian, if you are watching, man, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that you were really apprehensive at the end of saying, oh God, now I'm on a podcast, I'm bloody broadcasting it to the world. I think anyone that knows you, that listens to that podcast, will have a far better understanding of what you're going through, because you got your point across uninterrupted with people, with your peers that understand and a supportive crowd. So bravo, man. It's brave of you to share that way. And I really, really, really understand and respect your decision so much. So
yeah. And the thing that's so amazing about Brian and just the person that he is an individual that, like, if you're with him, you're the most important thing right at that moment. And the amount of people that have like challenged their beliefs about disability because they met Brian is in the thousands. Like it's not an exaggeration. Like the amount of people that he just, I don't know, people are drawn to him. Like I've gone to like the bar with him and I'll be sitting there along with him, and I'm not even joking, like just streams of people keep coming up to him when he's dancing and like all this stuff. And I'm like, like a few people normally come up to people in wheelchairs, but he's just like, it's crazy how many people are drawn to him. And when he goes to speak anywhere, like we speak at one of the technical, like tech colleges here, that's for like engineering and stuff, about adaptive like devices. And so we've done that a few times, and every single time the instructors always personally ask for Brian, because I'm kind of like the connection for them. And they're like, is Brian better come? The students are asking for Brian. Because he's just a tell it like it is, you know, no holds bar. Like, he just says anything that he wants to say, and it's all true. He doesn't lie or sugarcoat anything, and he's never like fake. And I think that people are so drawn to that. Like, his genuine spirit is just so palpable. And yeah, I've seen it time and time again. So if he didn't live the life he lived, would he have influenced the amount of people that he influenced? And those people, how many of them are out there living different lives and interacting differently with disability, because Brian showed them, you know, that disability doesn't define somebody. And like, there are employers that will, you know, consider hiring somebody with a disability when they would never have before. Because Brian crossed paths with them. And it's just, yeah, he's just a very cool person. I'm so honored to call him one of my best friends in the world. He's just such a great guy. And he's challenged a lot for me. Like, I met him years and years ago, and he's continually challenged me about like what I'm capable of in a wheelchair. And I probably wouldn't have started my YouTube channel had I not met him years ago, because he's part of the reason that I became so unapologetically truthful about life in a wheelchair, because it brings people closer to you rather than pushes them away.
Yeah. I know that like not everyone can see all the comments, but like, you know, we've got a lot of supportive comments. You know, I watched it and it made total sense. And I completely, like I say, I really agree. I think he's like left quite a legacy behind him, and it's great. You know what I mean? I think it's really powerful. I think like I came into the podcast with such different expectations and preconceptions and like almost scorn, like, oh, what, this guy, like, and then at the end I was just like, oh, you know, it was just, I feel like it's such a celebration. Like going out on your own terms is like, I've sort of, it completely changed my opinion of it, and going out on your own terms in a way that, you know, I don't want to, I think it's, I guess it's everyone, it's your own right, you know, like, again, it's medically assisted suicide, but if that he made a very good point. If that option wasn't there, then what, someone's going to just find me? Like, I want to go out, you know, in a way where, and we can celebrate his life, and also what, it's almost like a gift to know when you're going to die, because no one knows when they're going to die unless they take their own life, you know, like you and I could die tomorrow in some tragic accident. So, and if you've gone through an injury like a spinal cord injury, likely you probably could have died, you know, when that happened. So everyone gets a second chance at life, and to go out, like, you know, knowing your end date, doing, you know, tying up loose ends, I think it's brave and beautiful. So I hope Brian gets to hear that, man. So
yeah, he's very cool person. And yeah, just one that was like, he'll always do what he wants to do no matter what. And so it's a better way. It's like he said, it's better. And I think more hope. Like, I think he's gotten more hope to live longer, because he knows that he has the choice to end his life. The pain, like the thought of pain for another 40 years potentially, like if he lives to 80 something, the thought of that is overwhelmingly, like, it's just overwhelming. And if you think the pain, you know, doesn't have to last for 40 years, then I can last another day. I can last another, you know, 6 months or whatever. I think that like somehow has given him more hope and more ability to hang on through the pain, because he knows that at any time it gets to be too much, he has the option in a safe and dignified way to, you know, not traumatize his family or do anything crazy. Because there's a MAID is, you know, not a great thing when you say like this is how somebody chose to die, that there's still a lot of stigma around it, but it's less I don't know, like bad, I guess, in society than saying somebody committed suicide, because that's still pretty, people are always like, oh, or they think it's selfish or whatever, you know. Yeah.
I'm so glad that he got to record that podcast before whenever he chooses to do it, because it was beautiful. I'm sort of, I don't know, I challenge anyone to watch that and like not shed a tear. I was I thought it was just amazing, you know. Yeah, brilliant, really, really good. So yeah, so I know that there's some comments like, sorry, who's Brian? Yeah, it's a good question. We're reflecting on a podcast that Brittany recorded yesterday with Brian, who is a guy who, well, it's a long story. You have to go back to the beginning of the podcast to get the context. Yeah, let's move on because we've got like a limited time, and I wanted to end on a bit more of a light-hearted note. Unless you wanted to dwell on it a bit longer.
No, I think we're good to change topics.
Okay, good. I wanted to address the thumbnail. If anyone had noticed, that is not me and Brittany, but it's ChatGPT's AI rendering of Brittany and I, and I think it's a new thing that's been introduced to ChatGPT recently, and it can make images. And I was playing around with it. I was sort of like dicking around with it, and I wasn't. I don't think that we're going to continue with the AI generated thumbnails because I think it's very creepy. But who knows? They might get really good one day, and everything will be that way. But the I just wanted to share some other things like that it did because I thought it was really funny. So I uploaded a picture of the thumbnail, a thumbnail that you guys have probably seen if you've seen the podcast before. And I asked it to do different things. Like, for example, I asked it to make one that was overly enthusiastic, like a YouTube thumbnail, like sort of Mr. Beast style. And it made this one, which I thought was really funny. Because it doesn't really look that much like me or Brittany, but it's very funny. Yeah, and and it kind of nailed the logo as well. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but it's quite cool. I also got it to make us as superheroes, and the prompt was superheroes with like a stern face that like look like their adversaries, and it made this one, which I thought was really cool. Again, doesn't really look that much like you or I, but I think it's very clever that it's done it. There were some other ones as well. Oh, this is the one, by the way, that if you've just clicked on the video, this is the thumbnail that we're talking about. Yeah, you look spot on in this one. Like, it's pretty close. Very close. I'm not very close in any of them, but you're pretty close. Yeah, that is remarkably good for me, but for you, it looks like someone else. But and there was another one which was like in ancient Rome. The prompt was like time travelers. Again, not great, but still really impressive. The fact that it knocked that up in like 5 minutes. And then this was Brittany's personal favorite one. I love that one. Yeah, it's cute. It's lovely. I love the cartoon renderings of us. I think it's really cute. So yeah. So you know that you asked me to make a cartoon of us both. Well, I feel like it was nice that I made the effort, but like now ChatGPT can you just I mean, that's really bloody good, isn't it? Like, really good. It's really good. That one's the best one because it doesn't have to look exactly like you to be a cartoon. It just has to look kind of like you. It's like an avatar, right? Yeah. And so I think that was the best one. I think that if it were me, I would like keep that as the little like thumbnail logo thing for Wheel Talk. Yeah, I think when it comes to thumbnails, I think our actual faces get more engagement, rather than the cartoons. But like, probably. I thought that was amazing. Just quickly, while we're on the subject of AI, I wanted to share some other ones with you real quick. They were so impressive. I printed them out and got framed. I got a picture. I did though. A picture of Benji and his girlfriend turned into a movie poster, and it says "Hold my drink." That one they're both spot on. Yeah. Like they look exactly like themselves. Wild. I got them to do Chris and I, and the prompt was like Aladdin, and it said it made carpet DM, and that one is really good too. Chris looks more like good, like looks more like herself than you do, I think, but it's so cute. It's such a cute one. It is so cute. Tagline, why walk when you can fly? Because it knows that I'm in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So like it's so clever. And this was my personal favorite one. So good. The prompt for this one was just surprise me. And brilliant. Look at this. Honey of the Dead. I
It's
mean,
good.
honestly, that's just absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love that one. There were a few more. There was this one, which was like really cool. So it was like,
Oh, I like that one.
yeah. Do you know what I really like about this one? There's a real subtlety to it, but like if you look really closely, I'm in a wheelchair.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
Like
yeah. I
yeah,
see
the
the
wheel is here
wheel.
and I'm sat down and right, so get this right. I uploaded headshots of Chris and I. ChatGPT knows that I'm in a wheelchair, but it's never seen me in a wheelchair. But it remembered that I was in a wheelchair and put me in a wheelchair. And I was like, that's so clever. I was blown
That's
away.
creepy.
This
That's
one was really cute as well. Recipe for Love.
yeah, I like that one.
It's like really weird. It kind of looks like actors are playing us. Like it looks a lot like me, but like not that
Yeah.
much like me as
Chris, I
well.
think Chris is closer in those ones. Like they did Chris better.
Yeah. And then there's this one, which doesn't really look like either of us, but it's quite funny. It's just like the cosmic key.
Oh yeah. That one they didn't get right, but it's cute.
But still, I just wanted to bring it up. Like, how good is AI getting? Honestly, it was absolutely blew my mind. So yeah, I mean, you can react to that if you want, but like, crazy.
I think they're so cool. I did one of me and Joe and I sent it to you. And it got it pretty close, but I didn't have any time to like do the prompts that you sent me because I was just at my parents and I am trying my best. I did so good at my parents. I had my phone like in the room that I was sleeping in for like the entire weekend. And my sister got a bunch of pictures and stuff like that, but then I had this like when she posted the pictures, I felt like this like, oh my God, I didn't get any pictures, but also like I wasn't on my phone at all.
Mm, good.
And it was like so nice. Like I read some of my book when I was bored. I went
Mm,
quadding. I was like chatting with my mom and I was playing with my nieces and nephews. And like it was just so good to not
mm,
be on my phone. But I have like this huge guilt about not posting on social media to draw people to like my YouTube channel. And I'm so like I
mm.
struggle with that so much. But I feel so much better personally when I'm not on any kind of internet. Like I just, and
Yeah.
I'm so like sometimes I go in like a spurt where I'll answer every comment that I can see on my like feed on YouTube, and then sometimes I just don't have the energy to answer like anything.
Yeah.
So I'm just like I don't know what it is about me, but sometimes I just don't have the desire for digital anything. So
It's It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Like I said, I deleted Instagram off my phone. Feel so much better for it. I rarely post anything on Facebook, like updates. I shared our last podcast because I thought it was
yeah,
really good. But like, I rarely even post our podcasts. The only like platform I do upload to is YouTube and Patreon. And it's weird because like, I know that to get more engagement, you're supposed to use social media, but I don't like those other platforms. I don't know what
me
it is,
either.
and I'm sure you can agree. Like I don't know, it just feels a bit. I don't know. Yeah, like even sometimes it's weird that I record a podcast. I'm really proud of it, and yet I'm too not embarrassed, but it just feels cringy sharing it on the other platform. I don't know what it is. And also, I say that, and then sometimes Facebook will just either hide it, like
Mm.
or like no one likes it, but like three people will like it, and I'm like, well, I think either Facebook's hiding that or it's just wildly unpopular. So then it discourages me from sharing it because Facebook used to be a platform where you could share, and that's how people would. Oh, I saw you shared your podcast on Facebook. I listened to it. That's great. And then no, I don't know. Do you understand what I mean?
I totally understand what you mean. I just don't have I don't look at like analytics almost ever, even on YouTube, which is so bad. But in order to actually optimize the way you're sharing it, you actually have to be paying attention to the time of day you're sharing and what's getting better engagement. You have to answer comments all the time. And
Mm,
I want to help people, but I have like don't know if I'm like an empath or something, but like I feel like if I have to answer a bunch of comments, then it's like too much of me going all over in every different area.
Yeah.
And it's like enough energy of mine is spent just trying to think of videos, recording the videos, editing the videos, which is not like a talent of mine. And it's not like a
Mm.
passion of mine. I do it because I want the information out. And there's all the things that are like, oh, you have to just like, eventually get somebody to do that and pay people and all that stuff. But I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't make enough money off of YouTube to pay somebody to edit my videos. And I don't feel like trying to go through all the work to, send them all of because you have to organize the footage in order to send it. And there's still like just a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm just like, I don't have the energy for like getting that stuff done barely while I'm trying to work as much as possible and all that stuff. So I'm just like, oh, so social media just goes on the back burner. And I am a terrible online business owner, influencer, whatever. It's just
Yeah.
hard. I don't know. And then I
No,
feel all left behind
yeah.
half the time, but
I agree. I agree. And it's such a shame because like I think because Instagram for me it shot itself in the foot by I like to like share pictures of if I go on holiday, I'll share stuff on Instagram. If it didn't constantly promote the reels, which is like digital crack, I would like to engage with the platform more. It doesn't even show me things like from my friends anymore. It's just random like influencers or adverts. And I'm like, fuck
yeah.
off. Like even YouTube is pissing me off lately because it's constantly trying to show me the YouTube shorts. And I'm like, hey, if I wanted to watch YouTube shorts, I would download TikTok. I'm here for the long form content, but stop showing me those thumbnails which show you just enough, like some guy falling over and you're like, oh, like you want to click on it because you want to see like how he falls over clumsily. And then you're like, oh, a little swipe up. And then you're in the bloody, you're on the scroll. And I'm like, fuck off. Like this is not the platform that I want,
Yeah.
so
I know.
it's annoying, so annoying. So yeah, I'd like to share more on social media, but I'm so allergic to it these days that it makes me cringe.
This is a question for like audience members. If somebody shares on social media but they don't engage with you, do you get angry? Like, are you like, oh, this person's like, a douchebag? I never do because I don't like engaging with people in that way. I like Patreon where I have like my Zoom hangouts, and if people can come over there and join me on Zoom, then I like that kind of where I get to know somebody more. If somebody emails me, I will interact with them back and forth as much as I have time for. I do not like answering comments, especially if it's just like somebody says something, great video, then I'm just like, it's just energy to be like, thanks, like I'll like it or whatever. But I don't like engaging with people in that way. So if people watching don't get answers to their comments or people don't comment back, do you get annoyed at the creator? Because that's partially why I don't post, because I know I'm not going to have time to answer comments on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. And I reserve my energy for YouTube and emails. So yeah, somebody if like put it in the comments if they
Well,
yeah, no,
I
like
know.
most people say
Yeah.
they don't get angry, so.
Yeah. But I know exactly what you mean. Like, I would much rather like the Patreon community. It's so weird because I'm trying to like get people to engage with Patreon, but I think people might be like, oh, he just wants us to give him money. But I'm trying to engage in a much more community based thing. Like, I wanted to do a Zoom hangout so people that listen to the podcast, like, look, there's 26 people watching us right now that could have been live and doing like the Zoom hangout. Like if you would just sign up to the Patreon, you'd have got the email notification and we could have been interacting in a much more community type way. Like, oh, hey, Ryan, like I know Ryan's just signed up to my Patreon. I would have expected him to be there and we could have like engaged with each other and got to know each other right in a Zoom hangout rather than, I mean, I don't, maybe people didn't want to do that, but like, do you understand what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I totally.
I had this naive idea.
I do know Ryan has his morning routine right at our podcast time. So he's like balancing like watching us while he's doing like bathroom stuff and then getting in the shower and stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
So I
Yeah.
know for him, but I just wanted to defend him right there. But other people I know, like it's so hard to I struggle with Patreon a little bit in that way because I want it to be a place that I engage with people, but it's also just another platform that people have to go to and that they forget about. And it's really hard to know what to build a community on. There's a really cool
Mm,
app called School that I like a lot. There's like a way to schedule events. You can see the calendar. There's like a community feed that people can talk to each other in. That you can put courses in there and like have coaching and if you want, or you don't have
mm,
to. But it costs money. So it's like 90 or $100 a month. And like, I think it would be so cool. Like I have this like thing to be like paralysis school. Like it's like a community, but only for people with disabilities kind of thing, which is Patreon is like anybody, which is fun to interact with people that is anybody. But then I feel like it's hard to like spread your energy between people that are just like fans and then people who actually need your help. And then
mm.
once you start to get more platforms, like if I'm on Patreon and I'm on, YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and then I start a school community, then it's so much to keep. I can't even, I'm supposed
Yeah.
to keep like my newsletter going. And I'm just like, how do people that have online businesses do this? I don't know how everybody like makes this work, but yeah, I'm not really sure. I think it's batching content, using the same content in multiple places, and then just like um automatically like scheduling uploads so that you don't have to like do it all the time. Because there's like schedulers that you put one thing and it posts to 3 different areas. So I
Mm.
figure there's like, yeah, a lot of stuff I could learn to make my life easier. But at this point, I'm just like, there's a lot in life. But I appreciate all the
Yeah.
people that stick around for all of my disorganization and haphazard posting and all of that stuff, because you get me. The people that
Yeah,
stick
yeah,
around
yeah.
get me.
I do. Well, I get you as well. Like it was interesting because it was nice for like for us to hang out and like do the drawings and stuff. I thought that was fun. But I naively thought that there would be at least like 5 or 6 of us. And then it was just James. I was like, not well. If James is watching, it was. I wasn't like, oh, I was like, at least someone turned up. But
Yeah.
I thought that there would be like, oh, and then and then when I see the comments, I'd be like, oh, look, there's Charles and there's Marco and there's Ryan, and I would like have more of a connection with them because we would hung out like once a month, So, yeah, I don't know. I still hold on that I think that hopefully. That we will get more engagement over there. Like I say, it was fun. If that's what you guys want to do and get to know us more intimately, like I think that's a great platform to do it. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think maybe I've been struggling with the Patreon thing because I'm going, maybe fans aren't as engaged with our content as people in wheelchairs who actually need our help. So if there was a place where people who actually like were like, hey, I want to ask you this question about life in a wheelchair, about how to make my life easier, very specific questions, then I think it might make it easier. We should actually do that on here. If you like want to have a question answered on our actual podcast so that we're actually being helpful to the audience, or you just want us to talk about something, then email us, either of us, and then just put in the actual like subject line, wheel talk, and then whatever, your question is, wheel talk question or something. And then we
Yeah.
can start discussing actual things that people are asking about. Because I know a lot of questions come up in the actual live comments. But sometimes it's not what we're talking about, so we
Mm.
can't just address it in the middle of a different topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would
Yeah.
really like to answer questions that people have.
Also,
So
if we title a video like for example reflections on choosing death, and then someone puts in the comment something random, and then we talk about bowel routines, it's really misleading for something like. So if you do email us empoweredparrot@gmail.com or Fredo the wheelchair guy at
yeah,
gmail.com, then we can like discuss it and like build prep for it and have a discussion about it. But anyway, I'd really like to engage with the audience more. I think it's something that I think, yeah, again, it feels much more comfortable than the like the Instagram and sort of social media
yeah,
thing. So yeah, and we've got a really engaged audience. So I think I want
yeah.
to cultivate that more.
I know. I really like. I was telling somebody else the other day. I'm like, we have like regular listeners, and that's like feels so good. And I like that the same people show up and are commenting. And every once in a while, we get new people, and then they become regulars. But it feels cool to have people that show up for us, even though I'm not articulate. I don't know why anybody wants to hear me talk about anything, but I appreciate that you show up for me.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. Anyway, on that note, if you wanted, again, this was like a really spontaneous one, a quick one. I've got to go pick Chris up as well. So yeah, is there anything else you want to chat about? Because otherwise we can call it. I don't mind.
Yeah.
There's no mad rush, but
No, I think we're good. I actually have a lot of crap to do today that I hope I'm gonna get done. I'm gonna write a list and try and like slam through it and see if I can do that. So I'm happy to sign off and go get my stuff done.
Epic. One quick last thing was last night was my staff work do, and so it was really fun. And then today was Chris's like work do. So I had two parties that I went to last night and today. Like there was a barbecue down at the lake. You see, I caught the sun quite a lot. And I did magic. And I know that you guys that watch regularly like know that I do magic and stuff. But I actually got to perform magic for multiple different people, and everyone was blown away. They were like, "Oh my god, dude, that was so sick!" Like, and I think it's really weird when you first try to do a trick and then you do one and then like people expect it to be like quite lame and then it's really good and they're like, "Oh dude, show me another one." And then it filled me right up. Like people were calling me the magician. And what was really cool was when I went to Chris's little work do, they were like, "Oh, the magician's here, show us a trick." Straight away I was like, "Oh, I'm in." I don't even have to like awkwardly get a pack of cards out. They're just like, "Show me." And I was just like, I did some like mentalism stuff, and Gino, like one of her friends, she was like, "Fuck, that's so cool. How did you know what I was thinking?" And it was brilliant. It filled me right up. It was so good.
That's awesome. Way to go and impress your girlfriend's colleagues. That's cool.
Yeah.
That probably made Chris feel pretty good too.
Yeah. It was actually it was really nice. And I think like sometimes it's not like maybe it's overcompensating, but like if you turn up somewhere and you're like, "Oh, my boyfriend's in a wheelchair," you might think, "Oh, your boyfriend's in a wheelchair? Like, could you not get an able-bodied boyfriend?" I know that sounds lame, and that's probably coming 100% from a level of insecurity. But when I turn up and I'm like, charming and magic, they're like, "Oh, I can see why you with the wheelchair guy. He's fucking awesome."
Totally. It's always fun when people meet people for the first time. If Joe's worked with some people for years and he doesn't like mention that I'm in a wheelchair, and then I like come to his work and I remember one guy being like, "Your wife's in a wheelchair?" Like he was like, "What?" I was like, I know. Joe's like, "Oh, I never told you that? Yeah, she's in a wheelchair." And he was just like, "What?" Like he was so like flabbergasted. He was probably thinking the same thing. Like you couldn't get an able-bodied woman or what? But yeah, no, it's really funny.
I don't think people think that. That's like an insecure thought that goes through my head, and I don't think anyone ever thinks that.
No, I don't think so either. Most of the time, people are like, "Oh, like that's awesome." Most of the time, they think Joe's amazing. They're like, "Oh, you're such an amazing guy for being with the girl in a wheelchair." And then they meet me, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, she's a good one."
It wasn't like it wasn't a pity vote, man. She's sick. Yeah, she's fucking awesome, So yeah,
totally.
Yeah, it's cool. I just want to quickly address this comment before we go. "Hi, Britt and Fred, new chair user here who really appreciates your channel, which really helped me progress my wheelchair skills. So thanks to you both." Well, thank you for mentioning that. That's really nice. It's nice to be.
That's
nice
to hear.
I also had really great comment. "Oh yeah, you are my role model, Fred." And I was like, "Oh," that was when I was talking about Eric Kondo. Cheers, Marco. Also, nice shirt. Yeah, cheers, pal. I got loads of compliments on this recently.
It is a nice shirt. That's your color. I have a color, and whenever I wear my it's like a flannel shirt, but it's red and white, and red like makes my skin tone come out. I get so many compliments, and it's just like some random shirt that I got from like Goodwill, like a secondhand store that's not even a nice shirt, but people are like, "Oh, you look so great today," and I'm like, "Nothing different, just I'm wearing my color." So that's your color.
Nice.
Makes your face look great. Skin tone.
Yeah, I like it. Right. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate all the lovely comments, all the lovely stuff. Go and sign up to Patreon if you want to go, and if you want to like get to know us more intimately and cultivate that community that we were talking about. It is completely free to join, and hopefully see you over there. Okay. Till next time, guys. See you later.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.